Good afternoon, everybody. It is time for Thursday Thoughts. My name is Jason Flame, Moorpark Karate and Krav Maga in Moorpark, California, with my co-host, as always, Master Kevin Kowalczik in Littleton, Colorado, from Revolution Martial Arts. What's up, sir?
How are you?
Well, we were just
How's it
chatting
going?
for a minute before we got started, and we both seem to have a very busy day. Lots of things happening and lots of things going on. So that's the way we like it. We like things to move fast and keep
Yes.
moving forward. But I'm glad we can jump on and do the video today and talk about this week's theme. Our word of the month is honesty, and our quote for the week is "Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom," and that was said by Thomas Jefferson.
Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Ooh, that's a deep one. What are your
It's
thoughts
pretty
on that?
deep. What are my thoughts on that? My thoughts are Thomas Jefferson must be a wise man, and so
Wise.
that's where he's a wise man. Well, he's not one of the wise men, but he's a wise man. He did some important things in our country's history, right? But I think
Love.
what we're saying here is that in order to be a wise person, you first have to be honest with everyone around you. And today we're going to talk a little bit about being honest with ourselves. And so I'm
Yes.
going to read the next portion of this, and it says, who do we need to be honest with? Being honest means not lying to other people. It also means not lying to ourselves. Sometimes we lie to ourselves so that we can pretend to be happier. For example, I think this was a funny example, but I could look outside on a cloudy day and lie to myself and say, it looks sunny. So I don't bring an umbrella with me, but then it starts to rain because I lied. I get all wet. But I think in a lot of ways, sometimes we lie to ourselves, just like it says, we lie to ourselves so that we can pretend to be happier. I was just talking about this with the kids the other day in class, is that we have to be honest with ourselves. And I asked them a question. I said, when you go home, do you practice? Do you practice? And if you tell me yes right now, I'm going to expect you to be prepared and to be sharp and to be looking strong. But if you're lying to me, it really only hurts you in the end, and you're not going to be prepared for your stripe test. You're not going to be prepared for your next belt
Yeah.
test. You're not going to be on that path to black belt. So, lying to yourself really only hurts you, right? And it makes people have unrealistic expectations of, where you are and where you're going.
Yeah, and I think people probably do that, not knowing but subconsciously because they don't want to stir the pot. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want attention on them. They don't want the maybe the repercussion of not doing what they were supposed to do and having the
Mm-hmm.
discipline to do the right thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But some people will lie to themselves so much to the point where they start to believe their own lies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then all of a sudden it catches up to you because the truth always comes around, right? It'll eventually catch up to you. But it's
Right.
important that you're honest with yourself because if you're not honest with yourself, how can you be honest to other people, right?
Right.
But I think that's an incredible skill that we teach our students. Yeah.
Well, and let's think about it, right? When we think that we eat healthy, right? And so we tell ourselves
Yeah.
um, it wasn't that bad, or going to McDonald's once in a while isn't bad. And maybe that might be true, but we kind of talk ourselves into accepting less than excellence, and we settle for mediocrity. And before we know it, we're really just making excuses. And like you said, the more you tell yourself a lie, the more you believe it. You start believing your own story, or
Yeah.
your own, oh, well, I can't work out, or I can't eat well because I'm so busy, or because I have
That's the
this,
big
or
one.
because I have that.
Yeah, that's the big one. Sorry to interrupt you, but I want to hit on that really quick. It's not always that we lie to ourselves in the positive things, too, right? Like, oh, yeah, I eat healthy, or, oh, yeah, I practiced today, even though you know you didn't. I think a lot of people are on the other side of the fence where they lie to themselves, like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
or, right? We fill ourselves with the self doubt, the negative talk, and we lie to ourselves when really we're just being lazy and complacent instead of getting up and doing the work and getting it done. So I think there's
Mm-hmm.
some people maybe on both ends of the fence that you can kind of speak to. I'll let you finish your thought, but I think that's kind of a good thing that we can kind of dive into next.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think you're 100% right that we can tell ourselves we can tell ourselves whatever we want, right? I mean, we can fill our minds with positive thoughts, or we can fill our minds with lies that make us feel good. But at the end of the day, the whole theme is: are we really being honest? Are we really looking within and accepting our failures and correcting them? And also being able to accept, sometimes it's hard to accept a compliment. I don't know about you, but I was kind of raised by both my parents and even my own instructors that, compliments were hard to accept because they were really hard to come by. We heard a lot more about maybe what we did wrong. And I think the martial artist in us sometimes wants to hear, we want to hear, okay, what I do wrong, what do I need to fix? But when you hear that compliment, you really don't know how to take it, and you keep pushing it back and pushing it back, and sometimes I think that stunts our growth as well.
Yeah, I could totally relate to that. 100%, 100%. I think sometimes, at least for me, we're so used to, especially being business owners and lead instructors in martial arts schools, we're so used to hearing, the complaints or the problems or the things we have to fix and whatever. And our mindset is so much focused and fixed on fixing and improving and progressing, right?
Hmm.
That sometimes when that parent comes up and just says, "Can I just tell you like how much I love your school and how amazing it's been for my child?" And like we love to hear it, but it's almost like we're not used to it. It almost takes us back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I love hearing the compliments, but sometimes the compliments are the hard things to take, right? Because
Hmm.
our focus is, on like how are we going to fix the situation? How are we going to make it better? And then all of a sudden it kind of takes us off guard a little bit. So that's
Hmm.
another good one. On the topic of leadership, though, I heard a great quote one time that to be a great leader, the hardest person to lead is yourself. And man, if you can't lead yourself and you can't be honest with yourself, it's so true that how can you be a good leader for other people, right? And I think
Right.
that ties right into our concept today. Our topic is who do we need to be honest with? Well, we should be honest with all people, right? I think that's extremely important. But we have to have honesty with ourselves when it comes down to setting our goals, improving our lives. I'm constantly trying to evaluate, like, am I being a good dad? Am I being a good coach? Like, where do I need to step up? Where do I need to, and getting feedback from people and really paying attention and listening and learning from your mistakes, learning from things that you've maybe done in the past wrong or could have done better, and always having that open mindset to, being honest to the feedback so that you can learn and grow. If you close your mind
Hmm.
off to those things, I think it stunts your growth majorly, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, in our staff meeting last night, one of the things that I stressed towards the end of the meeting, and if any of my staff members are watching, I talked about, um, sharing feedback, sharing positive feedback, sharing
Yeah.
constructive feedback, and being willing to accept it. Sometimes, sometimes we don't want to hear it, but in our case, like, I want to hear the feedback in our school. Are we doing a good job? Are we giving our students the value that they're searching for? Are we helping them reach their goals? And when we do, it's really important that on our team we share that with each other, because someone might tell me, hey, so and so has been amazing. So and so took the time to work with my child, before or after class. And I want to make sure that I'm right there letting that instructor know, hey, you got some really great constructive feedback, and I think that's important as well.
Well, I had an instructor the other day that was just the opposite, where I do have those times all the time where it's like, man, I got some great feedback. This parent came up and was telling me how much she loved the way you interacted with her child and how that child was nervous to get on the mat and you crushed it. And like, that's important. But I think also it's important to do the other side of it. Like I had an instructor the other day that just wasn't feeling it. He was kind of in a groove, in a funk, and I pulled him aside after. I was like, dude, that was a bad class. Like you were not focused. There was no energy. He's like, I know, I felt it. And I couldn't figure out how to change it. And I was like, all right, well, like, what's going on? Let's figure it out. And all of a sudden he course corrected and he realized what was going on. And he kind of stepped on the floor in the next class, crushed it, knocked it out of the park. But had I not had that moment of honesty with him, like, hey, dude, like, what's going on? Like, that
Hmm.
was not your best. And you need to
Right.
realize that you could have done a better class and you seem off. And letting him stop and sit and think and realize that moment of honesty with him made him a better instructor, right? Was it hard for him to hear? Possibly, sure. But that made him a better coach and a better instructor. And he led the next class in a totally different way than he would have if we didn't have that moment.
Hmm. And I think the key to any strong relationship, whether it be a marriage, whether it be a coach and a student, um, whoever it is, friends,
Yeah.
um, communication. Communication is the key. And I think that that's a good reminder that, when if parents are watching this, we do want to hear from you. And we want to hear the good, we want to hear the bad, we want to hear the ugly, right? Communicate with us and let us know, because sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we don't even know that there was an issue, and then that issue kind of brews, right? And then something else happens, and now it's brewing over, right? And you're like, man, I wish I would have just known about that first instance, so I could have, like you said, your instructor course corrected, and did a little service recovery there. So and with instructors, instructors have to be honest. If they're having a bad day, like, let me know, and if there's something that I can do to help them, great. If maybe they need a day off, maybe we make that happen, get refreshed. Students too, if you're having a hard time, we need to know you're having a hard time. So it goes back to, again, strong relationships are built on strong communication.
Yeah. And for parents that are watching, so incredibly important. Sometimes I hear parents that say, well, my child just doesn't want to go today, or they're not feeling like going, or it's a fight or a struggle to get them to go. You need to talk to us and let us know what's going on, because we are professionals at this and we know how to motivate them to get them inspired to want to come back to train. Don't let it fester. Don't let it sit there and think that your child's different, because your child's just like everybody else. We all have highs and lows. We all have times where we're excited to do something, times where we don't want to do something, times where we're motivated, times where we're not motivated. Think about it. There's times, parents, you don't want to go to work. There's times you don't want to pay your bills.
Hmm.
There's times where, like, that's just life, right? But having that honest conversation with your instructors and saying, hey, I'm struggling a little bit to get my kid to come, or I'm struggling a little bit to get them to practice, or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Let us have a moment with them where we can talk to them. We can inspire them. A thing I always hear parents say is like, well, I don't want to force my child to do anything. I don't force my children to do anything. I don't force my students to do anything. I motivate them and inspire them to do the right thing. And there's a big, big difference. So parents, I would say, be honest with your instructors. Let them know where the kids are at. And there's going to be, again, peaks and valleys, right? That's part of what getting to black belt makes it so worth it. It makes it so exciting and so awesome, is because you remember all those highs and lows and those struggles and those things you had to overcome and challenges you had to persevere through. Like, that's what makes getting there so awesome. It's not always
Hmm.
sunshine and rainbows. It's not always going to be, but being
Right.
honest with yourself about that, being honest with your team and your instructors about that, will help that journey that much more.
Absolutely. Well, listen,
Huge.
on the very first class, when someone comes to us for their very first time, we talk about four things. We talk about, how they're going to build their confidence, how they're going to get better focus, they're going to increase their discipline, and how they're going to learn the value of commitment. And I'm very honest at the very first class. I said, look, there will come a time that your child is going to want to quit. It might be in a month from now, it may be in a year from now, but I mean, that's the
Always.
honest truth. Is there's going to come a point where they want to quit. So be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. And so I urge school owners, we can't hide it. We know, no matter how good our classes are, no matter how positive the parents are with them, there's gonna come a time that they want to quit. And probably that's going to be the most pivotal decision that a student and a parent can make in their training, is that point where they hit that wall, and they're wanting to quit, because they can go one of two ways. They can
Yep.
continue and learn perseverance, or they can learn how to be a quitter in everything that they do.
It's,
So those
it's,
are those are some thoughts.
It's comfort and commitment. Every choice you make takes you one step closer to comfort or commitment. Are you doing things that are easy, that are comfortable, or are you working on commitment and being a person of your word, right? Having
Mm,
that integrity. So incredibly important. And I'd also tell parents this too, since we're on this topic of honesty. 9 times out of 10, when I do talk to students, it's not even the martial arts. A lot of the times
right.
when a parent comes to me and says, yeah, my child just doesn't want to come today. They're in this funk. I'm fighting with them to get them to come. I'll sit down with the kid and be like, what's going on, bud? Like, talk to me. What's going on? Oh, I'm getting
Hmm.
bullied at school. I had a rough day at school. There's usually something external outside of martial arts. It doesn't even have anything to do with martial arts. And all of a sudden that put them in a weird funk where now they don't want to come in and train because they're in a mood
Hmm.
from something that has nothing to even do with karate.
Right.
So the honesty, man, the honesty with yourself, the honesty with your parents, kids, for you guys that are watching, talk to them, let them know what's going on. And parents, rely on your instructors. Talk to them. We know how to help keep the kids motivated.
100%. Love it. Love it. Love this topic. Love this conversation. I love
Awesome.
that we've been really tying in, some of the quotes and topics that we've been talking about in our everyday classes, and we're just kind of bringing this with a little bit more discussion. For those of you that are watching live, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback,
Yeah.
drop some comments in there and let us know. But for just a minute here, I want to take some time just to remind my school and my parents that we've got a lot of stuff going on. There's always a lot going on. Testing is at the end of this month. I did post up all the links so that you can pay for your graduation right from our Facebook group. Also, we have our intent to promote applications here. And while we're talking about honesty, as you grade your child in these areas, manners, behavior, attitude, self control. It doesn't do them any good to give them all fives if they don't deserve fives, right? Five is excellent. Four is good. Three is fair. Two is poor. One is unsatisfactory. I really want to know that this serves a really important purpose. I really want to know what their behavior is like at home, right? And on the backside, their teacher has to fill it out. And the same thing, this is one way to really help hold our students accountable to their actions, on and off the mat, so that they know that you can learn all the punches, kicks, blocks, forms, be the best fighter in the school. But if you're not on track with those other things, that might be a
Absolutely.
discussion of where we hold them back on a graduation. So please be honest as you fill that out, turn that into us, and go ahead and take care of graduation fees in the group. We got several tournaments coming up. Just throwing them
Let's
out
go.
there. Compete Nationals coming up
Yeah, baby.
February 24th, 5th, and 6th. I think we have about 2 to 3 from our school that should be going. Then we got Guido's Spring Showdown in Clovis. That's, I believe,
Let's
on
go.
March 18th. March 18th, I believe. And then
Shout
in
out to
in
Guido.
April, guys, we have two. We have our tournament here on April 1st here, which happens to be our 27-year anniversary as well. So we're going to do
Not
kind
an
of
April
anniversary
Fool's Day
party
joke?
and a tournament.
That's not an April Fool's Day joke?
It's not an April Fool's joke.
Wow, that's a
I'm
long
telling you,
time.
27 years.
Time.
Hey, and then April 15th, we got the Way of Orient tournament out at Ventura with Master Edelman's school, and I just put on
Sweet.
our calendar August. Cutting Edge Karate is having their tournament in August, so we'll come back at you with more dates, and they're always up on the screen on the board behind me, and they're posted in our Facebook group. What do you guys have coming up at your school? You just had Wonder Boy at your school. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
WB was just out here with his brother Tony, aka Sweet Tea. So we had some fun, man. We worked on some footwork drills. We did a bunch of really cool sparring drills, different angle changes, stuff that it's karate for MMA, stuff that he uses in the octagon, which is really cool. He's a master and a wizard at different angles and in the way he sets up his strikes. I think he's one of the greatest strikers out there if you really break down and study the way he moves. Super cool for our students to be inspired. Not just a great fighter, but an amazing man, a great human. Like so positive, so much fun to be around. All our students were super jazzed, got to get pictures and autographs and the whole thing. And it was a great, great experience. It breathed so much positive life into the studio. So everyone's just on a pumped up high right now. We've got Compete Nationals we're also going to be out there for. So our guys are getting ready for that. We've got belt testing coming up. We've got instructor training coming up. We have something almost every weekend from now through March and April. So it's like busy, busy, busy times, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. I'm loving helping people, changing lives. Like I always tell my instructors all the time is at the end of my days, when I'm dead and gone, when my life's over, who's going to show up to that funeral and say he made a difference? That guy mattered, right? And that's why I stay so busy and why I try to be so involved and do so much, because the more lives we can change, the more people we can inspire, the more we can do, the better, right? And I think it's just a huge, huge blessing that we get to do what we get to do. I love our job. I love what we get to do, man. It's
I love
amazing.
it.
Look at that good picture behind you. Look at that picture.
Woo!
Look
That's
at
the
that.
Raptor boys.
Let's
Bam.
go.
All
I love
right. Well, hey, speaking of changing lives and making a difference, Raptor Extreme Karate. We've got schools all over the country and across the world that are utilizing this program. And so, one of the things that I love about it is it gives students another opportunity, another avenue of training. Of course, our school has our traditional martial arts. We have Krav Maga. We have grappling classes, sparring classes, and weapons classes.
Mhm.
and the kids are really starting to love the Raptor Extreme Training and Sport Karate, which we've really put a focus on this year. So tell us about what's new with Raptor. I know we got the website is just
Yep.
about rolled out and done, and then we're going to
Yep.
get all the schools on that.
That's done. We're fully implementing that now. Students that are watching, think of it kind of like this, man. Like the Raptor training program is an upgrade to your regular training. You can take your regular basic classes and you can learn your forms and self-defense and stuff, and that's great, and be a martial artist. But if you want to have that upper, higher level experience, if you really want to take your training to the next level, this is where it's at. It's the difference of flying first class and coach, right? Like you could get a seat on the airplane. You're still going to get to the same destination at the same time. You're still going to get your black belt. But if you want that first class experience, you want to really have a different training level in your studio, in your classes, in your programs. Raptor does that. We've got the best fighting drills on there. We've got 8 different weapons curriculums on there. So you can learn almost any weapon you can imagine. Different levels that are modifiable for all skills, ages, fitness levels. A 6-part beginner tricking series to learn how to trick, extreme forms, everything. It's awesome. And with the new demo team platform that we're rolling out, that's going to take students and school owners to the next level because their students can perform. They can practice performing at shows. It's going to be so cool. Like, we're doing big things in the industry with Raptor. And I'm super pumped because, again, we're changing lives. It's the best part of what we get to do.
Well, it was awesome to see the Raptor Extreme Training, in effect at our last demo. We just did a halftime show at Moorpark College basketball games,
Yeah, they look
and
great.
I cannot tell you, the crowd went nuts. They were just so pumped, and our kids, have really learned how to perform and bring up that energy. It's just changed their level of training. And so
Love
it's
it.
exciting to watch them. And what was great about it was we got to expose people to martial arts that may have never seen martial arts or never been in a karate school, may not ever train, but it was a great way for us to get out in our community and just kind of highlight one of the things we do. And up next on our list is that we plan on competing in a competition called Moorpark Has Talent. And so I'm looking forward to that and having our kids participate in that. The grand prize is $500, and we get to
Nice.
perform at the 3rd of July fireworks show. So that's what we're aiming for. First place in Moorpark Has Talent with our Team Impact. Talking about impacting lives. Team Impact is our demo
I
team.
love it.
So, yeah, we're pumped and excited.
Well, I'm honored to hear that. I'm blessed to hear that, man. It's humbling to hear like how great it's taken off in your school. I've had other school owners tell me how much they're loving it, how their students are loving it. It's just so cool to see it coming together and seeing the
Mhm.
way it's changing our industry. It really is great. If you guys are interested in any information for Raptor, hit up Master Flame. You guys can hit me up too, and we'll get you guys set up with it. Definitely join the Raptor classes. Anybody that's over there at Moorpark Karate and Krav Maga, definitely get involved. Start taking some of these lessons and learning. It's going to make you more confident. It's going to make you a better performer, which is going to in turn make you more confident. It's going to make you a better martial artist. It's just such a cool, unique thing that we're doing, and I can't really wait to see where it goes this year. It's going to be amazing. You got the video?
Yep.
We should show
I have
them.
the video. I'm going to put that video up, and I just want to drop this last comment and suggestion for school owners that are watching and for our students so that you understand how the curriculum is taught. It's really, really a solid curriculum. We've got a 12-month system on how we teach it. So basically this quarter 1, we've worked on XF1, XF2, XF3. When we put those 3 together, we've got performance form number 1. So we'll be looking for students that can demonstrate that entire form at the end of this cycle. And then as we move into the second quarter, we get to XF4, XF5, XF6. That's making up your performance form number 2. So we can continue to, rotate this through. So if maybe you started a little bit late on the Raptor program, don't worry,
You
because
jump.
in month 1, we start with the basics of that first form, and we go through that before we move on to the next. So every month we're starting over again at a new point where anybody can pick up and catch up at any time. So really,
Love
really
it.
easy for instructors to teach. But let's show you what it looks like. We got our Raptor Extreme Karate video to finish out our sponsors for this show. By the way, Mr. K, you got a new partner that you're working with. You want to hold up the can?
Well, I'm just sitting here drinking my delicious Fit soda. It's so good. It's so good. No sugar, no dyes, no caffeine, but it gives me all the energy. It's got BCAAs in it. It's got the branched chain amino acids. It's got electrolytes in it. Like, ooh, it's so good. And the flavors are so amazing. Just want to give a little shout out to Fit Soda here. We will be
Good
having
stuff.
we will be having these here at Revolution Martial Arts. And when I come out to California, I'm gonna bring you some Fit Sodas.
Yeah, can't wait to try it. Can't wait to try it. Well, guys, here's the Raptor Extreme Karate video to end today. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comments, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.